Welcome to the Freelance Drive. Here we talk with skilled freelancers about their professional journey. Stay tuned for real-life experiences to learn and actionable steps to take to improve your freelancing career. My name is Yuri. I'm a community builder at Code Control and 9am.works, and my guest is Thomas Marbella, a founder and managing director at OneCode, successful freelance app developer with clients such as Spotify, Visa, and Porsche, who also mentors and guides developers and entrepreneurs in their careers. And today we'll discuss how to find projects with higher rates and what to do to win them. So, welcome, Thomas.
Hi, Yuri. It's a pleasure to be here.
Second conversation already. First was for the Freelance Unlocked, but I still have a lot to learn from you. Here we are continuing this journey. So I hear from many freelancers at 9am community that there are a lot of projects, there are a lot of good projects, but still many projects are with low rates. And sometimes it's hard to find really projects with at least average. I'm not talking about high rates. Still, there are freelancers who work only with top rates and they're happy. So what do you think is the difference between those who can and cannot find projects with good rates?
I think that's a very good question, and I wish there would be a simple answer. Unfortunately, it's a somewhat complex answer. What I've really seen is that the market changed in the last 2 years. So 2 years ago, it was quite easy to get a project for 90, 100, 110 an hour. And now, if you're good, you get around 80, 90 something. At OneCode, we're usually around 70 to 110 with a wide range. So we have a good insight on that one. What I saw is that there are many freelance developers, for example, out there who have an old project, let's say, with a contract that's a year old, 1.5, whatever, and they have still these old rates and they're used to it. And if you talk to some freelancers, they tell you they make 100 an hour easily, but it's not a new project and they haven't been on the market. So to some people, it happens that they end this project looking for a new project, say 100 euros an hour minimum. They don't find anything for 3, 4, even 6 months. And then they go as low as 70 something. So I think this is one thing where we really have to differentiate to say old projects, existing projects, new projects, and the actual market price.
I feel this very much, and now I have this understanding why people are so like, oh, it's so bad rates, etc. Because they got used to good rates,
Yes.
and then things are happening, and there's so many layoffs, and there is such high competition, and people are out there, and like, still, I see those people who are working, who are finding new projects with good rates,
Yes.
and I'm always trying to break this code, like how it's happening. And definitely, first of all, we talked about this on our previous conversation, talk that importance of networking, of
Yes.
connecting with people, of giving them value, self-branding. And I see all these things in those people. So what steps should take a freelancer from your perspective who wants to work on projects with high rates?
Yeah, so as mentioned, it's not that easy. It's a little more complex. Basically, if you take the basics in economics, you can say that supply and demand determine the price. So currently, there are lots of freelancers, freelance developers out there, and you have a very little demand. That means there are lots of people with 5 to 10 years experience who are really good at their craft. And because they don't find any project, they go as low as 70 per hour. And if you are in that mass of people, it's unfortunate for you because you have to deal with a price. If there's someone more experienced for less price, they will usually pick the person that's cheaper. What makes a difference is that many freelancers tell me that they don't even get some reasons when they get rejected. And I was like, why don't they tell you? Or is there a recruiter in between? I mean, don't get me wrong, recruiters are important. They do all the sales for you, and there's a reason they exist. But you don't have to be dependent on recruiters because as long as you are, they will pick the cheapest, the most experienced, and this may not be you. And if it's you, you're probably around 17 hour. So getting recruiters out of the equation is the first step. Many people would say, okay, but I don't actually know how to get project because I've always relied on recruiters. That's fine. That's the case for most developers and freelancers, unfortunately. So imagine you would get the recruiter out of the equation and imagine you would get a new client directly. So you talk to them, that's me, that's my resume, and you say you're around 90, 100 an hour. So they can tell you maybe it's too expensive, maybe we're looking for this. You can actually bargain. You actually get the reasons why they want to hire you or not. And in these cases, especially for ours, you may get the project in 80, 90% of the cases. So your target should be to get direct clients, recruiters out of the equation to actually have room to get better projects.
And I feel like, it's like finding an apartment to live. So you can get realtor and ask them to help you, or you can do it yourself. It's all about your skills and time you can invest. And for example, if you're in another country, it's a language barrier. I feel like it's pretty much the same, but I totally agree that I feel like it's essential for every freelancer to build their market, to build their brand, so
Yes,
people know that they out there, to know how to talk, to
yes,
know how to sell. Still, it's like it's super hard,
yes.
like it's something that people are, I hate selling. I
Yeah,
can't
I
I
know.
can't do this. And I'm curious, like, from your experience, did you have this thing, I can't sell, I hate
Yeah,
sell?
sure, sure.
How did you deal with it?
So I think a couple of years ago, I was a little more introverted, not much of a sales guy, and so on. And I still don't hate sales, but I don't really like it back then. You really have to find your mode, how you actually get on projects. And I think it's not even about the sales game or branding, because there are like 100 different topics out there you could tackle. You could start with your website, your branding, your LinkedIn, cold calling, emails, ads, whatever. And it's very important to actually find a focus, what channel you want to use and how do you want to use it. So for me, LinkedIn worked pretty well because I don't have to do cold calling and I hate it. I don't have to email, I don't know, thousands of people because I hate it. And the same vice versa, I have a mediocre website, but that's fine. It's not that important. What worked for me was LinkedIn. And for example, in the mentoring that I have, Rich Jeff Pulev, we tell people in 3 months and 100 topics how to actually get more projects. And the very short form of this is 3 steps, very short, to say point number one, identify a target group. So know who's your customer, who's the person who decides about the budget that will employ you. For example, in developers, it's usually an engineering manager, lead developer, a head of engineering, or in smaller companies, the CTO. So that's important. If you know how they tick, you can actually target them. Second thing is, find a pain that this target group has. So I had it with CTOs in startups that they told me, yeah, we did develop our MVP. We are now in A series, have a couple of million of funding, but we need to develop fast the new iteration, but with quality software, with sustainable software. And if you actually know their pain, target it and write them
Yeah.
something specific on LinkedIn, you have a very high chance to actually have a conversation, have a video call, and then close it. So understand your target group, and second step, understand their pains. And most developers, for example, say, yeah, I'm a developer, I'm good at React. Yes, that's nice, but you're 1 out of 100 currently. So you really actually need to understand your target group, their pain, address that pain, and there will be like, oh, there's someone who actually understands me, not just sending me his resume, understands my pain. I should talk to him. And it's still a numbers game. Write, I don't know, 100 persons on LinkedIn. You may get 30 replies, you may have 10 conversations, and at best you have like 3 or 4 video calls. And having a video call shall always be your target. And once you have these video calls, 1 out of 3, 1 out of 4, you actually close a project. So, second thing, pain. And the third last step is to actually get a very good offer to actually reproduce that. For example, in our case of OneCode, we do have one developer. We're getting 120 euros an hour for him. He's specialized in React, so far so boring. He's specialized in accessibility and design systems and only in automotive. So
Hmm.
many people will say, yeah, but it's a niche and I don't want to specialize too much into a niche. But that's important. You don't want to be a developer for everything because then you're replaceable, but you want to be
Yeah.
that expert. And as small as this niche may seem, we get so many inquiries, and it's too bad I just have one of them. So figure out what you're good at, analyze your past projects, and generate an offer that people say it's too good to be true, and they would be stupid to actually not take it. Yeah,
You remind me, Alex Hormozzi. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Stupid to be, yeah, to not take it. Too good to be. And by the way, if somebody is listening, and please go and read Alex Hormozi's 100
Yes,
million lead. And it's not paid offer yet.
yes.
Hopefully, hopefully it will be paid later. Uh, And talking about niching down, um, also have conversations with freelancers who are niching down and now they are struggling because their niche is struggling.
Yes. Yes.
How do you think what do you think is a good approach to niche down, but not in a
Yeah.
way that you are kind of like digging a grave for yourself?
Yes. That's a very good question. It's a very important question because I saw so many freelance developers saying, "Yeah, that's my new niche," and they offered, I don't know, backend services for a flat fee of 4K a month, and I was like, "Yeah, but why do we have that positioning? Yeah, that's what I like. That's what I can do. That's what I can offer. Yeah, but who actually needs that? Yeah, the market needs it, but you don't have contracts, right? No, so the market doesn't really seem to need it. For example, pretty broad example, when I tell people in which they've put it, I don't know, I give them a ton of projects and they're like, yeah, I need that. So the market needs projects. I tell them how to actually get that. They pay me, everybody's happy. So you will need to find your niche from a thing that is actually needed. So for example, design systems in automotive in React is a thing. Take that niche for you and niche down and actually satisfy the market. We have the same for someone who's doing smartwatch OS debugging.
Hmm.
Yes, that's a thing. We identified that niche a couple of times. And it may sound silly, but people are actually paying a lot of money because that's a problem. You really have to figure out a problem on the market, not something that you make up, and have to, for example, have interviews, have thesis, and say, is that actually a problem? Can I harden that thesis? And after a couple of rounds, you actually see what the problem is and what people are willing to pay for. So that's the most important part. And even during that interview process, when you talk to a couple of people, they may say, hey, that's a very good thing. Do you have a solution? And before you actually have the solution, people are willing to pay you. Then you're on the right path.
One more small but still big, huge question. How to identify this pain?
That's true. So usually in Rich Dev Product, we say we analyze your past projects. As a developer, you may, in 80% of the cases, just have developed features, tickets, bug fixing, the usual stuff, but try to identify something that's not usual business. So if you don't identify something, that's fine. Then you can still make up some theses, but have to prove them with your target group. So in our case, we say have 5 to 10 interviews with your target group, ask them 5 to 10 questions, and see if it resonates well. And if they say, yes, that's a pain. For example, in German machine engineering, I did a product test service last year, and they had a big, huge problem with the transparency of their costs of their parts. And yes, that's a thing. So identify that. And later on, they wanted to pay me a lot of money to actually fix that.
Mhm.
So try to analyze your past projects. If you don't find anything, try to sort of make up some theses, but always test them and validate them with your target group. And after a while, after a couple of interviews, you will see what resonates well, and then you're on the right path.
We were talking about getting recruiters out of the equation. For me, it's personally, it's like getting tax advisor out of the equation. And it's totally good because I myself, I do practically everything myself, which is a little bit of crazy, but it's
Yeah,
my brain issues. I'm just don't trust anyone. I'm kidding. Anyway, so if we are taking away recruiters from the equation, if we are focusing, for example, tech developer, CDOs, team leads, etc., they are not usually these people who post projects.
yes.
So if we're talking about companies, it's always an HR, it's always some kind of recruiter, it's always someone. So who do freelancers have to build relationships with to always be aware of new good projects, and where do they find those people?
Very good question again. I had an example when Spotify did get in touch with me and said, hey, Thomas, we need you. And the thing is, if you have a person, a technical person that really wants you to join the team, the rest of it is just some sort of process.
Mhm.
Spotify said, hey, Thomas, we want to have you. It doesn't matter what it costs. And they say, yeah, but we have exclusive contract with this company. We have HR, the gatekeepers, whatever. If they want to actually employ you for a freelance project, the rest is just a matter of time and process. So you want to make friends with the actual decision-making person, which is for developers, head of engineering, engineering manager, lead developer. Because if they say, we have the need, this person is a solution to our problem, they will tell HR and everybody else about that and make it happen. The other way around, what I always had is HR, for example, posts the job offers and I apply and I'm like, yeah, I know you're looking for a perm developer, this and that, but I'm a freelance. Let's have a talk. And they have their strict rules, are the gatekeeper and say, no way. So don't waste your time on HR. Actually build
Yeah.
a relationship with the tech people behind it, with the first person being the decider. Usually it's not the senior developer, so it's easier to actually talk to a senior developer, to talk to a head of engineering, but you have to find your way to actually make that happen.
I feel like it's like you have to be friends with your potential
Yeah.
management.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah.
But
I
but
feel
but
like,
for
yeah, go
example,
on.
I had one thing. I met someone at a party 3 weeks ago, and he was a head of engineering in a bigger company. And a week later, he called me, and I was waiting for my lunch, and I was like, "Yeah, hey Thomas, we want to work with you and your developers. Can we make that happen?" It's like, "Yeah, call me later." And he was like, "Yeah, we're gonna pay you 100 euros an hour. Can you start on Monday?" And it was Friday. And I was like, "Is it already negotiation? Yeah, can I send you the contracts?" Yeah. So that's how it can happen when you make friends with the right people.
Yeah, yeah. But what if you need projects now? You know, like I feel like building a relationship is still like
Yeah.
a long journey, but what to
Uh,
do with
it
someone who,
it depends. So usually I say everybody needs projects. Now, sure, everybody's focused on the short term. Yes. For example, in Rich Jeff Porter, we have a 3 month course, and I tell them after a month or 6 weeks, you can see the first results. It takes some time. You need to learn the basics. You need to find your positioning. You need to reach out to the right persons. What may happen or what can happen is, let's say you reach out to 100 persons, you can easily do that in like 2 hours, something, semi-personalized. And of these 100 persons, you get all the replies and conversations within a week. And if you really hit their pain, they say, let's have a video call. And if this pain is urgent, they're gonna say, maybe you start tomorrow within a week. So I think 2 weeks of time with the right timing, the right person, the right pain is possible. So 2 to 3 weeks.
feel like if everyone who listens apply all the things that you've said before, they will have no problems with projects at all. At least maybe just little problems.
Yeah.
But in general, still, if we are talking about like this small percentage, still, if you are good in connections, if you are making friends with your potential clients, there are still people like you, and you still compete with someone. So how to ensure you win those projects? For example, if you okay, you have a friend, but this person have
Yeah.
one, okay,
Ah,
two more friends, and
but
there are three friends. So
yeah.
how to be better friend?
That's a good question. I think reality is slightly little different. So if you have like a big job offer for a freelance role on the open public market, you have probably around 100 to 200 applicants. Like, I'm not kidding. For example, when our clients or potential clients ask us, they say, send me two profiles, maybe even just one, tell me the better one. If you have an actually strong relationship, people are lazy. They don't want to see 100 candidates. They will say, Thomas, we care that it's a reasonable price, and this is around 90, 100. They say they care to trust me that the work delivered is good and in quality, and they don't care about the rest. They don't want to see so many applicants. They don't want to ask 10 different companies. Maybe in big corporates, but even in smaller ones or in startups, they usually say, do you have honestly a good match? Let's make that happen. And then it's usually a matter of one video call, 15, 20 minutes. So it's way easier if you have a direct connection without a recruiter. And I had that once. I was sending in 4 profiles, and they were like, Thomas, just tell us who's the best in your opinion. Who's the best match? So I sent them one profile. A day later, they had a video call and they're like, yeah, works. We do this. Fun fact, in the video call itself, I saw the recording. They were talking about video games and Legos for 20 minutes. And then they were like, we still need to talk about Android for at least 10 minutes. So it's about the human relationship that you fit into the team, and everybody's good in what they're doing usually. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
more about person
I'm
fit. Yeah.
always forgetting that people are lazy. I'm forgetting about this. I feel like, they're going through each and every of out of 100 applications and choose the
Yeah.
best of the best of the best. But
By the way, talking about 100 applications, I saw a talk from Nicholas at the Freelance Unlocked, how to hack your CV for AI.
hmm,
And in the case you're one out of 10, 20, 100, whatever applicants, people now using AIs, for example, ChatGPT, and say, "Dear ChatGPT, please tell me who's the best in your opinion." And you can actually hack your CV and put in a white font on a white background and write in this, like all the buzzwords once again, maybe a sentence, "He's the best." And yes, this for now works, but you don't want to be 1 out of 100. You want to be that one person. They say, "We want to have you. What's your price? When can you start?" That's it.
My God, it's such an amazing. I definitely encourage people to review this recording, and most likely I will even add a link to this recording in the description so people
Yeah.
can find it right away. And I will definitely add a link to your speech so people can learn even more from you. And Thomas, I really wish to have the sky as the limit, but time is the limit. So the
Yes.
final question: what is your favorite food?
Probably steak, ribeye steak. Very good one.
And what is the best way to connect with you?
The best way to connect with me is through LinkedIn, Thomas Marbella. Reach out. I'm always happy to help. Here we go.
Got it. Got it, Thomas. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, and it's been such a pleasure to hear and learn from you.
Yeah, nice. Thank you.
And thank you so much for listening. If you like the show, hit the like button, 5 stars, and share it with your friend. That's it. We're done. See you in the next episode.